Oh, I've gone into a rant, haven't I? The fact that we have a justice system that won't let us like do this shit.
Like how you just changed your voice.
What?
Like how you just changed your voice to a radio voice.
Oh.
I'll keep going.
I didn't know I changed my voice to a radio voice.
I heard it. Probably it's hard for you to hear it because
yeah,
it's like me not looking in the mirror. Well, anyways, yeah. Everything about the healthcare here in America with the whole Obamacare. You know, let's hit up some points right now with the Obamacare.
As I just said, the Obamacare, the deductibles are ridiculous. I have a friend of mine, her name's Deborah, and she was telling me that she had to go get an operation. She had some like kind of cancerous cells that she had to have removed on one of her internal organs, and she had Obamacare. You know, they pay $50 a month to get it. She had to pay a $5,000 deductible on top of it, and then it didn't. Like from what I understand, it didn't even cover like the entire operation. She had to pay out of pocket from that. That seems to be like the norm, like all across the board. I feel like Obamacare is something that it's designed to leech money off of people. Like
people.
The Constitution specifically states that if there's going to be a tax on the American people, it has to be apportioned. What apportioned means is if you don't want to pay that tax, you do not have to. I.e., if you don't want to pay a sales tax on food, which, you know, food's a poor example because normally you can't tax food. But if you don't want to pay a sales tax on food, you can grow your own. If you don't want to pay a property tax, you can rent. And you know the income tax is a little ridiculous as well because you can't survive without an income. But what they do is if you don't want to pay an income tax, you don't have to work. Like that's the way it's been set up. Obamacare is the first example in the United States where you have to pay a tax for being born. For simply being alive, you were born owing the government something, and that is 110% of reversal of the role of government relative to the people. It is.
So you think this is a whole like for the interest of the guy passing the bills?
Yeah. Like it's common knowledge that the like insurance companies and representatives thereof wrote the Obamacare bill. It's so ridiculously long that nobody's read it.
They just
especially the
it,
people,
through night.
Especially the people that are supposed to be representing our interests in Congress and our legislative branch on the federal level. Nobody's read that. The people that have are entirely either horrified or they don't understand it because it's so ridiculously like complex and loaded down with all sorts of like hard to understand legal terms and stuff like that. You don't really have to be that smart to be a congressman. You really just have to, be a certain age and get elected.
And go with a couple like views, like be moderate in some views.
Yeah, and a lot of times, a bunkin doesn't get elected. I don't know of any specific examples, but a lot of times people elect people that are doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. But that's not a requirement.
Yeah. And
normally when somebody's a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, or you're being a congressman, a lot of their time, from what I understand, is spent on their campaign. Like they have to get reelected every. It's not 4 years. I think it's 6 years for the House.
Yeah, 6 years.
It's 6 years for the Senate. I don't know what it is for the House. I wish I did. I'm actually embarrassed now. I got to look that up again. But anyway,
we'll look it up. Don't worry.
But and it's staggered from the presidential election. They did that on purpose so we can. It's one of those other things that it's in place that's supposed to represent balance. But I think another one of the things that's going on is
people out there are saying that the presidential election this year is a joke. Do you agree with that?
The presidential election, I don't know, man. There's like, I think it's always been a joke. I think that was kind of like the thing. Like, there's like, how do you prove that you have the right to govern me, other than I obviously don't have the right to kill you. That's pretty well a given. But like aside from the fact that like I don't screw with you and you don't screw with me, how do we decide what a government is? And I think after that, government's a man-made thing. It doesn't exist except for in our minds.
Yeah, well, during the Revolutionary War, back pre-Revolutionary War, like these people came up. The founding fathers were like, "Hey, I got a good idea. Why are we paying the English all these taxes when we can become our own entity and then create our own nation
and like fast forward
have our own interests."
Fast forward to the time when we were trying to establish a constitution and a government to begin with back in like 1786, I believe. 86. And maybe not 86. It was probably because 1776. It wasn't 10 years. It was probably like 87 or 88 or something like that. I don't think it was. I don't think it wasn't even 10, but whatever. Yeah. I wonder how. Like, how do you prove that the people back then didn't have better ideas than the ones that just won out? You know, like, how do we know that we weren't as corrupt back then as we are now? And certainly, I feel like we weren't, but I feel like the corruption has in our government, and just like the total ineptitude of this system applied to our modern era is fairly obvious and has grown like exponentially since 1776. Thomas Jefferson actually said that we would probably have a new government every
year.
every generation, not every year, but every generation or whatever. Because he said basically, like, if people in 1776 are expected to create a government for people in 1976, it would be like asking a full-grown man to wear his
pajamas to work.
His childhood pajamas, essentially. Like, you outgrow them, things happen. Like, you know, a lot of people say that.
So you can outgrow ideas.
You can outgrow ideas, and technology changes our reality.
So you have to adapt to it. You know?
Yeah.
But some ideas can still be put on in the same emphasis, like what's going on.
Yeah. Well, certain principles, certain natural laws don't change. That we know of.
Natural law, yeah.
Like, natural laws pretty well stay the same.
There's like all these great philosophers from back then. Their ideas still work to this day. Like Prince, Machiavelli, Niccolo Machiavelli. Some of his teachings are still used today.
What teachings are those?
It's like, he talks about how the most common one is like to be feared, to be loved, whatever. And he's like, you have to be a little bit of both. It's hard, but you have to install, fear into your people to be lovable.
Who is Machiavelli?
You don't know who Machiavelli is?
No. Where was he born? Where is he from?
He's from Italy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he I don't remember specifically how the story goes, but he puts this man to rule over a city. But that man, he puts someone in charge to do all the like killings, and like if you break the law, he will like hang you, kill you, bam. He had an executioner, basically. Like, think about it like a cop, but more than that. He'll go fucking, he'll do all the bad things, and if you broke the law, he'll come and find justice for you. And justice is basically dying. He'll kill you in a bad way. And all this killing went around the city, and then the one who was the man in charge of the city was like, hey, he put him to death.
Yeah.
So the people looked at him and it was like, hey, this guy's a nice guy, the one ruling us, because he just killed the executioner. So, the people loved him after all that pain, but no one dared to, rebel against him, because he was like, you can hire another executioner or something.
I remember when I was in high school history class, one of the history class in high school was kind of silly because like when you're taking a
they're real simple and easy.
Yeah, it was real simple and easy, and a lot of the questions were inaccurate. Like, they were open-ended questions that had definite answers. Like, give me a break. Like, one time, I remember one specifically that stuck out in my mind was we were talking about the French Revolution. They said, who was safe in the French Revolution at the end? And the answer was no one, because like even the people that were running the guillotines ended up getting guillotined at the end, and they stopped fucking killing people at that point. But that's kind of like it's
like the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Spain did it for many years.
That was something that was interesting that I have been chewing on for a while, and I haven't been able to articulate it as of yet. But like, I see a lot of people that criticize Christianity for the Spanish Inquisition and all that. But the more I look at it and I kind of look at history, I wonder how many atrocities how many atrocities that was directly linked to Christianity, and how many atrocities did the Ottomans create? Because that was like basically from my understanding, Spain was fighting against the Islamic Empire, which was a tyrannical government at the time. And when they started getting rid of Islam or Muslims, they were trying to get Islam stranglehold the hell away from Europe, and it obviously went way too far. A lot of people ended up getting tortured or whatever. But like, you go back and true, it is very true that, like we were saying earlier, natural law doesn't really change. So what's immoral back then is still immoral today, and vice versa. So certainly torturing people to death and forcing them to commit or to
To be guilty.
Yeah, forcing them to admit their guilt, even if they're not or whatever. That's a terrible crime. But
because most thought if they plead guilty that they wouldn't have to suffer no more.
Yeah,
and just kill them.
Under no circumstance do I condone the actions perpetrated by those who claim to have represented the ideals of Christianity. That's not what I'm getting at here. But I wonder how barbaric the Christians were compared to the Muslims. And actually, there's different kinds of barbarism that we're dealing with here too. Because it seems to me like if you're living under Islam, you're living under tyranny. If you're living under Christianity, you have relative freedom. Women aren't property. I guess they may have been back in those days, but they weren't like forced to cover themselves up. They weren't like, to my knowledge, they weren't sexual slaves. I could be wrong, but like there was like compassion and whatnot. I don't know. I'm a Christian. I may be biased here, so like I said, this is the first time I've articulated this thought, so I haven't really given a lot of research or like being able to like back my own stuff up. But yeah, for sure, it seemed to be like a very effective method to get Islam out of.
Well, I would say, but they both have put some contribution into some evil.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but. I don't know. I feel like
the past is repeating itself. We've seen this before, like with the Crusades, killing each other. We've seen them, during the Inquisition.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like a never-ending cycle. Like you look at what's going on with what's going on today. Like we have an Islamic terror problem. Okay, so why do we have an Islamic terror problem? Well, because there's a bunch of nonsense that's going on in the Middle East and like American involvement over there and then blah blah blah. Okay, so let's back up a step further. Why are the Americans over there? Well, the Americans are over there because X and X and there's greed. And so there's greed. Why do we have greed? Well, I mean, if you're really going to look at it, we have greed because, we have.
Or can you believe that the people in charge, the leaders, could be like very like into religion, or are they just like it's like a front to use for money and power?
I think it's a platitude to say that religion was created by. All religion is just a method of controlling people. But to be honest, I think that there's a balance. I think that ideas come and go, and religious scholars are the keepers of those ideas. But like they're just like our government. We have 3 branches of government to keep it all in balance. I think the same thing needs to happen with like philosophy, theology, science, and all that. Like we're looking at the Christian church, regardless of what anybody may or may not want to believe, had committed its own, and certainly it probably acted in its own interest. And I'm not condoning it as like a selfless act, or it probably did what it did to save its own hide. But it was responsible for saving a great deal of information from the ancient world. And, a lot of the ideas that were held as sacred ideas, like the heliocentric universe, or the not heliocentric, but the Earth-centric. I don't know what the term is for Earth-centric, Gaia-centric, whatever. But the idea that the sun revolves around the Earth and so does the rest of the universe, and all the celestial bodies are perfect or whatever, except for the Earth, that came from pagan philosophers. It came from like Aristotle and
Plato.
Yeah, I don't know about Plato. I think Aristotle for sure though, because he was the one that he basically came up with the most primitive concept of gravity, and which was the natural rest. Well, yeah, but the natural resting place is what I was thinking of. He believed that if it was a natural law that everything should rest on the earth, and that's its natural resting place. So when you pick up a pin and you drop it and it hits the ground, it's because the natural law dictates that pin should return to its natural resting place unless otherwise acted on by like a force or whatever. And then there's a few other scientists whatever that once it popularized the kind of turning away from that where I think Copernicus still believed that too, but like I know he challenged Aristotle for a while, but like Newton.
Yeah, Aristotle also said that he actually said this, that if you were religious or you believed in God, that you were actually less intelligent.
I don't know that, but that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I'm a Christian, so I'm biased, but like I don't think paganism is real. I don't think it has any other than like the spiritual, what you can already get without it. I don't think there's anything other than what you can get on your own. But like when you're looking at Christianity, you're talking about establishing a relationship with the author of natural law and nature itself, who was the Christ that walked on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's essentially what it is. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, I think that in Aristotle's mind, because he didn't have the true, religion, should we say, he experienced a lot of doubts because it truly, his religion wasn't there, and he just assumed that because he was. It's hard to call Aristotle small-minded, but the man didn't travel thousands of miles from his home place. It was impossible.
Just traveled from Rome back to Greece.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I don't know about his. I think Aristotle was exiled. I think he was exiled and he was forced to travel around. But there's no way he went to the.
He was done training.
There's no way that he went.
Alexander the Great.
Oh, did he? Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he was his mentor.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's no way he went to the Americas. There's no way that he would have at one point been able to possess the kind of knowledge that, like, I can get on a computer right now and get on Google Maps and look at a street in China and tell you exactly what that street looks like, all the way around the other side of the world.
Well, it was real hard for an average person to just travel. They wouldn't move out of a 100-mile radius when they lived, the average person.
Yeah, I've seen that the other day. I don't know how accurate that is, but that sounds about right. Because we did a little bit of research on my family history, and for like four or five generations, everybody lived within 70 miles of each other. Like, literally everybody, not from each other, everybody lived within 70 miles of the same spot. And a 20 mile journey was like an all day affair at that point. And now it's like, okay, I hop in my car and it takes me 15, 20 minutes, depending on how fast I'm going and I'm in Denton.
What kind of transportation you're using.
Yeah.
So that's changed a lot. You can go see Japan under maybe 2 hours if you have the money.
If you were going to go see Japan from Texas, I'm sure there's planes that could make it there in 2 hours. I'm sure we have all sorts of top secret government stuff, but I'm thinking like it's closer to like 18. Like I think it's 18 hours from England to New York on a Boeing 747. I think that's how that turns out. I could be wrong, but maybe it's from LA to England or something.
Or maybe I'm just an idiot.
I don't know. Maybe. I doubt it. I mean, it's plausible. I know that fighter jets and whatnot, they go so fast that you have to physically pump your own blood.
Yeah, so much G-force.
Yeah, there's so much G-force that like gravity starts working against your bloodstream.
It's a tough job.
Yeah, it's like basically you've dove under like 20,000 feet underwater or whatever the G-force is. I'm sure 20,000 is the wrong number, but yeah, it's like living underwater that deep.
Yeah, diving out in the water.
Yeah.
Being a cunt.
I don't know about all that, but yeah. How long has this podcast been? 18 minutes?
18 minutes. 18 minutes. 18 minutes.
I don't have my guitar with me. I can't help. Sorry.
Can you play something in your mouth? Yeah. Bum. What's that song from? Rastafarian, Targaryen. Nah, the one they're playing, it's him, the guy that plays Robert Baratheon, and the guys on the piano. It's like, come on, all next to me.
You don't mess around with Walter Frey. Yeah.
That was classic shit.
That was awesome. Yeah, that Tyrion on there.
Game of Thrones is just on the back burner for a musical.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's awesome. Peter Dinklage guy, he's actually pretty. I've seen him.
So he actually sings.
Yeah. He's pretty good actor. He's been in a couple of films, like he was in Elf. I didn't realize that was him in Elf until like I went back and watched it. Like,
he makes fun of him, right?
Yeah, and then he drop kicks Will Ferrell in the face.
That's crazy because I hated him, and I'm not trying to be like fucking racist or I don't know what the word would be, but I didn't like him because he was a midget.
Yeah, I don't know what the midget like. I've heard the PC term for anybody under a certain height is little person, but I've done a little bit of research, and but I could be absolutely wrong because I did when I said a little bit of research, I got on Wikipedia and looked at some stuff because I was curious and stupid and I didn't know what the hell. But dwarfism is different from like being a midget. I think there's like 3 or 4 different diseases that can cause, like degenerative diseases that can cause you to like stunt your growth at that particular, because it like the abnormally
inhumane.
No, not inhumane. But like when your body quits growing, but your head doesn't. You have like a large head, and you have like large hands or whatever. That's different from like other kinds of.
Well, I couldn't stand the guy.
Yeah.
And then I watched Game of Thrones, and I became a likable character. I was like, this guy's pretty cool. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw him in that movie X-Men, The Future Past.
Yeah.
But then I hated him even more.
Well, that was his character too. He's kind of like he's a good actor. He's got a wide range of.
He came out in at a funeral. It's a movie. It's a funny movie.
Oh, is he gay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out in that one and the original one.
Yeah, he's the same
character. Twice.
Character. Yeah, it's just the English and the American version.
Yeah.
Something I've seen. Yeah. Did we watch the same WatchMojo.com video? Is that what's going on here? Because we both just quoted everything and we just repeated off. Yeah, we don't have any original thoughts in our head at all, do we? Yeah. I think I might even send you that video or whatever.
What, the WatchMojo video?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was that I seen Elf, but I didn't realize that until I seen a clip on YouTube. That had to be the one. Yeah. Shameless plug for a company that probably shouldn't exist. Top 10 list of like, get out of here with your clickbait crap, you talentless hacks. Get out of here.
Wait, WatchMojo? Do you think they shouldn't exist?
No, man. I think like you should put some thought into the crap that you sling. Like ours sucks, but at least like we're trying. Those dudes are like
some original thought or a lot of end quote dialogue.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with WatchMojo. You want to watch what I've seen a ton of them.
I used to be real into it.
Yeah,
when it first came out, or whenever I got YouTube.
I think there's an oversaturation of clickbait, and I think it's a deficit on the industry and like the information.
Yeah, I was so hooked on
entertainment industry
because it gave you so much information of other people's opinions that didn't really matter, but. It was interesting to just watch the topics.
Sometimes when you go in there and you're like, okay, I want to watch a sci-fi film that I haven't already seen, and then you click WatchMojo and they'll like,
that's what I
watch this. Have you seen the fucking Starship Troopers?
That's how I watched True Romance through them.
True Romance.
Because I kept coming out in like top 3. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking watch this movie.
Everybody likes that one. That was Quentin Tarantino.
That one and Usual Suspects.
He made that one. See, somebody ruined the ending for me. I pretty well already had the ending figured out from the beginning. It was pretty obvious who the bad guy is as soon as you start watching it. Like, but I mean, I'm not gonna.
I didn't figure it out.
It
kind of ruined it to me because I guess this is a big iconic movie or somewhere around there because they made so many parodies of it, and I was like, where the fuck is this from?
Oh.
And then I started watching that movie, and then I was like,
well, it's like I don't even know what it's about
the
anymore.
One where the ending is, blah blah blah.
It's like there's like 5 people that are in a police headquarters, and then there's like a murder that got committed,
and
then just like a string of like mafia type
Usual Suspects guys from the city.
Okay, and then like
something went down a boat where
somebody has an alias, Kaiser Sose.
Yeah,
and they're trying to figure out who the alias is.
Yeah.
And then it turns out to be one of the guys that they have, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like
it was one of the guys within one of the guys.
Yeah.
It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. How come he hasn't gotten an Oscar? Are you a fan of Leo?
He did a ton of Scorsese movies. He did
that guy that Martin Scorsese hires a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens a lot with a lot of directors. They find somebody they like working with, like Johnny Depp and what's his name?
Michael Bay?
No, Michael Bay. Johnny Depp was in a Michael Bay movie?
I just shot something out.
No, what's the guy's name? He hires his wife. Fucking Tim Burton. Johnny Depp's in a bunch of Tim Burton movies because they're friends.
He hates those movies. You know that?
Tim Burton?
No, Johnny Depp.
He hates those movies?
Yeah, all the Tim Burton movies.
I don't think he watches them.
He doesn't watch them.
Well, I don't think it's because he hates them. I think he doesn't like watching them, so it kind of freaks him out when he's watching them.
But he said those movies, like he hasn't watched them, but he knows he wouldn't like them. Like he hates them. He said it in an interview, and people were like holding him for it. I was like, why?
I wonder how much of that is like him playing a game, because like he's been doing the. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and there's this guy that I know. His name's Doug. I don't know him. This is a guy named Doug Stanhope, who's a stand-up comedian, and he hangs out with Johnny Depp quite a bit. And Joe Rogan was telling some of the stories, and he was like, "Yeah,
want to sit here?
Yeah. Why didn't you pull that out? You got freaking folding chairs and a folding table, and we've been standing out here for 20. What the hell?"
We've done the whole podcast sitting down with a table.
You got a whole podcast studio in your truck.
Can we get a table? No, we shouldn't, right?
A what?
A table?
I don't really care. Whatever.
Fucking, like, the officers won't tell us anything?
What are they going to say?
Like, why are you behind the truck with a table?
We're doing a podcast, officer. Would you like to sit down and join us? Why don't we talk about, like, what do you think, what's it like being a UNT police officer? How have you been? Like, have people been giving you crap? Or, like,
stuff like that. There you go.
Thank you for your service. Leave me the hell alone. I'm not bothering anybody. Fuck off. It's, like, real simple. Like, be respectful, but assertive.
Keep it simple, you know.
Yeah.
Like me being a judge.
Yeah. Let's see, being a judge. What were we talking about?
About Johnny Depp being a fucking homo.
Johnny Depp. Oh, yeah. Kevin Smith has a lot of the same actors in his movies. Clint Eastwood has a bunch of...
It makes sense that the fucking director just picks their hands.
Yeah, once you get... Yeah, once it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Everything. Like, you know, I make a podcast. I'm going to have my usual guys come in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade them out for 3 new guys.
Rogan does that, actually, with his podcast. I didn't even think of that. That's a good, like, change of perspective. Like, switch from directors and go over to... Because Rogan has, like, he has Joe Diaz on a lot. He has...
Jason Sylvia, is his name?
No, he's been on there a couple times. Yeah, he's had Brian Redband on. He has that guy on all the time, and they're his friends. Like they hang out all the time. Whatever. His podcast.
It's like they're his friends, and they go travel the world for a couple weeks, and then they come back and they talk about it in the show.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know if he goes to.
Well, I don't know about travel the world, but they go do shit.
I know they do like they go to like Vegas. I seen him in Dallas once. He was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I got to meet him. He was a nice guy.
It's like when me and you and Justin get all together and we talk about what you've been up to.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've been banging my wife.
Yeah, that was Justin had to say on the last podcast he was on. What have you been up to, Justin? Sex. Lots and lots of sex. It's really happening this time, guys. Yeah.
It's like actual no hand gestures in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually sitting behind UNT parking lot. What'd you call this place?
General parking?
General parking on Fry Street.
Or premium parking.
Premium parking.
Yeah. Doing a podcast outside on a phone by
I forgot my tripod, so we can't do recording and video right now. So I do apologize for my fans.
What do you? Well, yeah, I gotta see that tripod. That's kind of cool. I like the fact that you have that.
Yeah, made it myself. Like I grabbed my phone thing that you put, the slider thing that you put right here.
Yeah.
That, and I burned a hole through it because I was trying to drill a hole, but I didn't have a drill.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a lighter and just slowly but surely burned the hole right through it.
Wow.
Just the perfect amount of size, and then grabbed my box cutter and made it. And then I grabbed some rope and those clippers, and then test it.
Yeah.
And there you go, bam.
Podcast material right there.
Podcast material. And you can go to my YouTube channel, Shogun Angler Studios. I can show you a tutorial on how to do that.
Right. Aren't you gonna put this on your YouTube channel?
Yeah. I'm just gonna like upload probably like a funny video or just like a picture.
Like what I did. What we need to do is establish a situation where people can download them. Because I was listening to Rogan and he said like that's pretty good statistic. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. Obviously, I mention him a lot. I didn't mean to name drop it. He was saying that he has them up on YouTube and he has them up on his website and iTunes or whatever. And he says they download them way more on iTunes, like significantly more on iTunes than they do on the YouTube show. Because people just throw it on their iPod and just throw it in the car and then drive around.
Does that mean we have to make like a website or something for us to be downloadable, or
we have to sign a contract? You can put it on. You might have to put it on iTunes, or I hear iTunes is pretty good about
downloading your information, giving them information to download.
Yeah, about like not screwing you over. I feel like they're pretty good at that. Because you look at like Napster or whatever,
Or
like, I don't
SoundCloud.
know. Yeah, I don't know, like if there's any unethical shenanigans or whatever. But essentially, like it used to be, a musician would write a song and then he would put that song out on wherever. Where would he put the song? He'd sell it to a record company. And the record company would make buku cash and give him like 20% of what he would have made.
Mm-hmm.
And then iTunes came along and they're like, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, like the music industry really likes to fuck their people. Well, it's not that they're fucking them over. They're giving you a choice. It's like, you go mainstream, this and that, you sign this contract.
I think,
and we'll give you 10 cents per song, or we'll write the song for you, and you just jump on the booth and sing it,
Yeah.
And we'll give you a car, a nice car.
Yeah.
Shit like that, and then they end up getting the bigger percentage for your music, or you can write this, you can write that, but I don't want you to write about this.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're like real into politics and you want to rap about it and stuff like that, or like rap about main events, that are going on. Like they don't let you do that stuff, because it's entertaining.
Yeah, it was crazy. So a buddy of mine posted this video. I wish we could pull it up, but a buddy of mine posted this video the other day where this guy pulled up and these people they had food stamps, and he rolled the window down. They were in like a Walmart parking lot and they were loading their food up, and he said, "Hey, I noticed you guys are on food stamps. We paid for your stuff on food stamps." And they're like, "Yeah, so what?" And he's like, "Well, seeing you went over and you paid for your lottery and cigarettes with cash." And they're like, "Yeah, it's none of your business." He said, "Actually, it is my business." And he like put it in park. He jumped out of the car and he said, "It is my business because I'm a taxpayer, and if you have money, you shouldn't be using that on whatever." And she's a trashy lady or whatever. She started cussing at him or whatever, and he said, "I'm taking this steak. This is mine because I'm a taxpayer. I'll see you later." And he walked back, and I got to thinking, I don't know what that really accomplished. What that guy thought he was accomplishing, other than just making a video. Like, I think the video would have been complete if he would have drove off and given that steak to like somebody that needed it. Because I think one of the arguments that people have against like food stamps is that their money has been taken against their will. Mm-hmm. But I think that certainly, if I wasn't paying as many taxes, I would definitely want that money going somewhere else. I don't want the government to make that choice for me. That's my deal with food stamps. I'd much rather give $30 a month to $30 a year, or whatever your
like
minimum.
$3 that comes out from
I don't know.
Paycheck?
I have no idea. I doubt it. I don't know, but I think it's like $30 a year for everyone. I think that's how that works. But like, I don't know for sure. I heard the figures for that. But I'd much rather pay Salvation Army $30 a year and be done with it, because I'm familiar with the Salvation Army. I know where my money's going. Like, my great grandfather was a chef. He used to work for them, and I'm familiar with the company. But yeah, but anyway, I thought that number one, that video would have been complete if he would have given the hobo or like some homeless guy something, and then like it got me thinking, like, just now, like, why?
So he paid taxes. Do you think he was entitled to do that?
Well, let's think about this. Did those people think that he was entitled to do that? Because as soon as he grabbed their steak and he walked off with it, he didn't see that guy running up and grabbing the steak back from him. If I had bought that,
he looked intimidating.
Well, fuck that. I don't care. And that guy that was in the was loading the stuff into the van.
Yeah.
He looked like he could hold his own against anybody. Like, he's a full-grown man, and he looked like he was in relative shape. And if Omar, I don't care. Like,
maybe he's in shock because of what
if somebody comes up to me and they grab my steak, and I've already had the balls to say "fuck you, get out of my face," and that's a quote from the video. I'm not trying to be profane or vulgar or whatever. Like, that's how the video went down.
Yeah.
But we'll put a link to that in the description, the video that we're talking about. But if somebody comes over to my shopping cart as I'm loading this stuff into and I paid for it with my money, and he takes a steak and says, "This is mine," like, we're going to war. Like, that's not, you're not gonna do that in front of my pregnant wife or whatever. Like, I'm done with you. But if I didn't pay for that and I didn't feel like it was mine to begin with, I probably wouldn't feel like it was worth fighting over. You know, and this could be conjecture or whatever, but I'm thinking maybe that's exactly what happened.
Well, I know a lot of people that are good at just talking, and then when it comes to like a confrontation, they back off. Because psychologically.
Yeah, because psychologically they don't feel like it's worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And That guy didn't think that
Scary.
the steak was worth fighting for. I think the reason he didn't feel that way is because he didn't pay for it.
You get two types of adrenaline. You get the fear, and then you get the anger adrenaline.
Yeah.
You're more likely to confront someone with an adrenaline and anger in you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why he was feeling. I think he got the fear adrenaline. The fear adrenaline works more where you get confronted and someone's coming to hit you or hurt you close to you. You are more likely, confront that person physically and defend yourself. So I think a lot of things could have said about that.
Maybe, but
I mean, I'm the same page with you. If someone would have came and got my steak,
it's done.
Or just
I think the adrenaline thing. You may be right, but the adrenaline thing, I feel like is like your mind has total control over your body. Like our subconscious minds are way more powerful than we give them credit for, and I feel like on some level of his subconscious mind, that guy knew that what he was doing was wrong.
Got in tunnel vision.
No, but I've heard that it's like a phenomenon that happens with a lot of fighters. It happens with a lot of soldiers and shit too. Like stuff just slows down to the point where you can count the seconds for like a can to drop to the floor or whatever.
Well, it's more like when it's like, all right, I'm in my car and then you come out and it's like, hey, you come slam the door and it's like, hey, asshole, get out the car. And then I'm like, what the fuck? I get out the car and I just come in and then you try to hit me and then I just start hitting you. And we got into a big fight and then there was a guy passing down the street with a bike and a tricycle dressed as a clown suit. Like, I wouldn't have noticed that because I had total like tunnel vision with you.
Yeah.
Like, my whole adrenaline just focused on you really quick.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't notice anything around me. And that's like more like tunnel vision. Yeah. And then when I started training in boxing, that went away like really fast. Like, I would be all my surroundings. I would know exactly what was going on.
Oh, really?
Before I confronted or before I got in a fight.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And that's one thing I noticed because I used to not fight a lot in the street, but I would get into a couple of scraps, and I would get that tunnel vision. And people were like, "Man, I can't believe you got on the floor. You hit the floor that fast and got up." I was like, "I hit the floor?" It's like, "Yeah, he hit you and you hit the floor real hard, and you got up." I was like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah.
It's like, here's the video.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. It's like, it was a nice kick to the face.
Yeah. I remember when he did that. That's crazy. Joe Rogan said on one of his podcasts that he was doing the UFC match.
Yeah.
And there was a guy with a broken toe. It had been spun all the way around and shit. And he was doing an interview with him directly after the match, like they do. And he was like, "Dude, you broke your foot." And immediately the dude started screaming as soon as because the adrenaline kind of wore off at that moment, and it was like, whoa, oh, that's not supposed to be like that. Yeah. It's like that movie Goons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the guys. Oh yeah, with the hockey player.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
Yeah. At the end where he was in a boxing match with the old guy.
Yeah.
And then
his name. He's a fucking serious actor all the time.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place. He plays funny stuff. I thought.
Yeah.
He was Sabretooth in the.
Yeah, he was Sabretooth in the second one.
He was
Origins.
Yeah. He was what you call it?
He was Canadian, right? In the movie, they were playing a Canadian team or all American.
Yeah, he was Canadian. Yeah, but the guy that the main character was American.
Boston. Yeah. Their team was a Boston team.
I thought they were Canadian. I thought the whole except for him. I thought he was the only American.
No, they were from Boston.
Okay.
Because they were ranting about not having the accents.
Oh. Yeah.
I was like, this movie's based in Boston.
Well, I mean, I feel like I don't have much of an accent unless I'm talking real thick or whatever, and I'm consciously aware of putting on a draw, maybe.
No, I'm just a fan of the accent.
Aesthetic reason. Okay, my bad. Yeah.
So I was like,
I read way much into that. John, it's a movie, and it sucked because they didn't act right.
They can pull off that. It's like going to Mexico and everyone talks English perfectly.
Yeah, like Cancun. It's like going to Mexico and going straight to Cancun. It's exactly what it is. Have you ever been to Cancun before?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's Little America.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You walk
a taste of America.
You walk 2 miles out of the city streets, and there's little poor kids running around naked in the streets playing with pigs.
Yeah. In Brazil when I went there for the World Cup.
World Cup.
Yeah, soccer World Cup in Brazil. There's shootings down the street, and these guys were over there in this big ass stadium playing. I actually built that stadium just for that World Cup. was getting into this with a friend of mine. He's a big soccer fan. Where you going?
Put my jacket on.
Oh.
It's cold.
He's a big soccer fan, and he's like, man, he was telling me, he was making the point that Americans here in the United States are not really into soccer as much as any other country because it's not a winning team. You know, it's not out there. I was like, you're probably right. Anywhere that's a winning team, I think would actually put their team on the map. You know, that played anything.
Yeah. I think.
Because you know how Europe has a huge fan base on soccer, and Mexico and Australia.
All over the world.
Yeah, it's a whole world, and just the United States, like football or football.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. No world crap either. There's I'm sorry, I had like 4 Facebook things. Somebody
Blocked you?
tagged me or whatever. Evan McGuire. I don't know who Evan McGuire is. Productive Productions. Anyway.
Yeah, Productive Productions.
Yeah, .com.
Yeah.
No, not yet. No,
Oh.
Productive Productions on Facebook though. Look us up. Link in the description.
Are you does that ham?
This is salmon.
For the people that can't see at home, he pulled out a piece of aluminum box.
It's
that you open up with salmon fillets out of his pocket.
Salmon
out of his
fillets.
What don't you have in that jacket? Earlier today, you couldn't find a lighter, but you had it.
I'll tell you what I don't have, Omar. I don't have a penny.
Damn it.
Because we always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I stayed up studying all night last night for my Spanish
Are you
exam.
gonna pay for that?
No,
Did you pay for that?
no.
Oh.
I'm a King's man. This what the hell is this Segway thing this guy's riding?
You seen those are illegal now?
They're illegal?
Yeah.
Where?
Because they don't have brakes.
They don't have brakes?
Oh.
How do you make him move? Like, I feel like he doesn't pedal.
Oh, it's the thing on the bottom. It has like the pads. You tilt a little bit forward and you just go straight automatic.
Oh, really?
You tilt back, I guess, and that stops it.
I feel like
or you jump off of it.
I feel like if for as fast as those things go, you should just walk.
Yeah.
Like
Stop being lazy.
or gay. Like freaking get a skateboard.
Just put a dildo in your face.
Yeah.
And you're riding those.
That's terrible. We're gonna offend somebody. Yay. Nah. Every time I see somebody like that, I think of this video I seen where Darth Vader was riding one of those things and he hit a wall. Some guy in a Darth Vader costume was riding one of those stupid skateboard Segway things, and like he was running through the kitchen and he hit a wall and he fell over, and that was like the end of the video. It's just funny, and every time I see somebody in that, I want to push them over.
Yeah.
Just like check them into the concrete or whatever they're riding on it. Like what? I haven't really thought much through after that. That's why I haven't done it. But I mean, I probably wouldn't like it if somebody did that to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it either
Yeah.
if someone hit me with a baseball bat while I'm riding my bicycle.
I have the same thoughts when I'm driving a car and I see someone on a bicycle. Only
You wanna run them over?
instead of tackling them, I want to hit them with my car.
Yeah. That's crazy. But that's normal. That's the norm here.
Nah, I'm kidding. I don't have those thoughts. It's terrible. It was just, man, bicyclists can be like the most annoying like people on the road if you're driving and they're in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Get the
When I
hell
was a
out of
little
the
kid, I never pictured myself driving. I don't know why. And now that I drive, I'm like, damn, this shit is horrible. Like, I hate driving.
Yeah,
Like, if my girlfriend says, you want me to drive? Yes.
yeah.
Because I like to just sit back and chill.
I don't like. I can't chill when there's somebody else driving my car unless it's like my cousin.
Yeah.
My cousin is like the only one that can. Not even my dad. Like my cousin is like the only one that can drive my car, and I'm okay with it. Like, and I don't think it's like, I don't think it's reversed either. I'm pretty sure he doesn't relax when I'm driving. He's in the car.
He's just like,
Yeah.
God damn it, John.
Yeah, he's been a professional truck driver for like. He was a good driver before he was a truck driver, but he's been driving a 12-speed, freaking like 40,000 ton machine all over the country for like 2 years now. Like, he's an incredible freaking driver.
So
like,
when
it's
it comes to a car, he's just simply just hoverboarding compare
Yeah.
to anything else.
Yeah. What do you call? Is that what you call those stupid Segway skateboard things?
Oh, those.
What do they call those?
I assume hoverboard. No, hoverboards is the other one that I saw that faggot riding in.
What?
It was one wheel, then it seemed like a pedals, two pedals, and then one wheel in the middle, and then something covering over the wheel, and then he was just riding down the street.
Why was he a faggot?
Because of that.
That's just.
But that was a lot faster than this.
That's
So
terrible.
I was like, you're just asking to get ran over.
Yeah. I was listening to a local musician here in Denton. I was listening to his music the other day, and he was like, something. I don't remember what it was, but like, why are you using the word faggot like it's socially acceptable to say, or something like that? Or like it's going to be a social.
Social democracy against it.
Well, it's going to be, yeah, like acceptable. I don't know what the lyrics was. I wish I would have been able to quote it. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. He had an interesting perspective on that. I use faggot like a lot. Like I use that word all because I don't mean to offend anybody that's homosexual, and if you get offended by that, like you can go kiss my ass because I'm tired of this. I'm offended. Thus, I have to censor myself. Crap.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna do it. It's fascism. I'm tired of hearing it. My freedom of speech. If you're not gonna defend my freedom of speech, I don't have any use of you. I have absolutely no freaking use of somebody that's gonna act like that. Like, I'm offended, so you need to, I can see to a certain point, like you need to wear clothes in public.
Yeah,
Like
stop swinging your dick around.
Yeah, like something like that. But like, freaking, yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I use the word a lot,
My vocabulary should not be stinted because you're a
Like, faggot's one of my top 10 words.
fascist, faggot.
Yeah, because, like, especially when I'm with my girlfriend, I'm
Cunt.
She's
That's
always
another one you say a lot. You like that one.
like, cunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, man, the hound just.
That's weird because like you don't normally see like I guess I don't know if it, like you're from Mexico and the spoken language there is Spanish, I mean, obviously, but like I feel like cunt doesn't have as big a push down in Mexico that it is up here because yeah, and it actually doesn't have
Vagina
a big,
face is very,
yeah,
very, very point. It's like vagina face down there is like saying cunt up here. Like now some people are like, especially women.
How do you say that?
It's like it's an icky word, or like, oh, you shouldn't say that, or that's like I hate that word. You know.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are here. You say vagina face down there, it's the same. You get the same reaction.
That's what it means in Spanish or in English. How do you say
Panocha.
it? Panocha?
Yeah, it means vagina, but I like to say vagina face.
Oh.
Because that word just sounds like you're expanding. It's like panocha. It sounds like you're saying like a big fucking
Word.
pussy. You know.
Oh.
Like,
In your mind?
Yeah, that's how I feel like.
Something you can like take it like use like a jacuzzi and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like huge. Like it's like an exaggeration of a word. It's like
It's weird how like some words like that kind of stick out in your head like
picture in my head. I'm just like, what the fuck wrong with me? But
I had this thought when I was studying Spanish last night where like the Spanish word en
Inquisition.
well no in like
Oh,
like
then
freaking
and I don't know what that means.
Tudo freaking
Tudo.
how do you say fish? Pescado en
Fish.
la cajo. How do you
Fish in the box.
Yeah, I was gonna say metal box, but I don't know how to say metal.
Filete en la caja de metal.
Filete en la caja de metal.
You ever eat squirrel?
No, but I heard it's delicious.
It's pretty good. It's really gamey and tangible.
Yeah,
That's even a word.
tangible is a word. I don't think you used it right. Tangible is like
Something that can be grasped.
yeah. You knew that. What if you had the definition, but you didn't know it was a word?
Because some of my fans don't know. I'm not saying anything.
Nah, screw that. Do not conform to your fan. Your fans or your audience rather will
Rallies
raise themselves
upon
to
others.
your
If you're a
level.
fan of mine, you're a standout person. That's
Yeah.
all I gotta say.
Yeah, you're
And, yeah,
well,
well-
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a standout person. So that in and of itself proves the statement correct.
Yeah, like
Actually,
Pedro
no, it
Vides,
doesn't.
and I want to give a shout out to your podcast, the No Nonsense,
No nonsense.
Make Sense podcast.
Make Sense podcast. We can't wait to have Pedro Vides on the Productive Productions podcast. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking faggot.
Yes. That. I don't know the guy. I'm not going to call him a faggot.
Yeah, you should call him a faggot. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I seemed like a pretty good dude when I was watching.
He's like, he's not retarded, but he's like smart.
He's not retarded, but he is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say intelligent, like highly intelligent or
Yeah.
intelligent.
It seemed like
But he knows what
a
you're
whole
talking
lot of
about.
formal education.
He has a formal education, that's what I can say,
Really?
like to 9th grade.
Oh, did he drop out of high school?
10th grade, let's say 10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he dropped out.
Okay.
But
I'm sure we can get all this information from him next time I see him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I've never even met him.
What he's got going for him, he's pretty funny. And I told him, yeah, you have a good radio voice that you can present yourself well, and make
he likes doing it. I think he should do it.
Yeah, and he's a big fan of the Stephen Colbert show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says he likes his comedy, so I'm like, man, maybe you can get some inspiration. I'm a big fan of Dave Chappelle, man. I want to bring some of his old skits back, start.
Yeah,
start doing some of his
or at
work.
least do your own skits and obviously be influenced by him.
Yeah, I want to get some influence from him. I want to go look through his shit because I always enjoyed his shenanigans and his skits.
One of my favorite comedians of all time. There's a Toyota Camry right next to us that's beeping. We should probably get out of their way.
Probably should move over there to that parking spot.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if a police officer can stop us from being I'm sure they wouldn't screw with us, but I bet if we're taking up another parking spot, they'd be like, "Hey, you're blocking traffic, dude. You did."
Yeah.
Even though there's 80,000 other spots out here.
Yeah.
You can't stay out here and drink. That's probably the rule. What were we talking about? Podcast, Pedro Vides.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my all-time favorite
out.
comedians, Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
He was influenced heavily by like Richard Pryor and probably Lenny.
What about Donnie Parker? Donnie
Parker? I don't know who that
or
is.
Donnie Baker, I think his name.
Oh,
Have you heard of Mary King?
Mary King?
I'm pretty sure you have.
Yeah, he's the guy that does
The rants, and he's like real.
the Silverado videos. Is the one I know
Silverado,
him from.
yeah. Silverado.
Look at my Chevy Silverado. Yeah. He pops the hood and he's like, "You see that right there? That golden punch made out of solid white gold, and it transfers the hurricanes to the tornado dispenser."
Yeah. He's a funny guy, even though some of his shit could be
pretty
harsh, but I'm
Yeah.
like, that's my kind of comedy.
I've seen a couple of his. Like, hey, his videos are something to watch. Like when you need something that's just like so terrible and like you need to laugh, because like those Chevy Silverado videos he did are just
The pick of the iceberg.
oh
like,
they're like raunchy as all get out. But like you start watching some of his other stuff where he starts ripping on he's like rednecks. He did one video. It was like rednecks are not anti-gay. We're not homophobic at all. As a matter of fact, we love gay people or whatever. Like, let Luke Bryan make his music. Leave him alone. Like, and he just went off on that. Link in the description for his video. Yeah, we're gonna have to start writing these links down. We've dropped like 4 of them.
Yeah, there's one where he's like, I was in prison one time, and so I was in the shower, right, sucking this guy's dick.
Whoa.
And he looks down at me and tells me he loves me. And I'm like, I got up and just punched him right in the face. Like, what the fuck you think I am, some kind of faggot or something?
Wow.
That's what he said.
Wow.
I tagged Pedro in that.
He was in prison.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
You
He's
can
got
tell.
one of those eye drop tattoos on his eye,
Yeah.
too.
He was in a mental hospital, too.
Oh, is he really?
So I can tell.
How can you tell?
Because I looked up his first YouTube videos where he does prank calls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, your sense of humor comes from some kind of disorder you had in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a mental hospital. That's probably, yeah. He's yeah, I remember those. They're like, hey, is this so-and-so? Yeah. I'm going to punch you in the face. That's it. That's the whole video.
Yeah, and you like gets thousands of likes and millions of
Who is
views.
this? Oh, you're a woman? I'm going to punch you in the face twice.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You know what else I shouldn't have said? I'm going to punch you in the face.
He does the McDonald's parody.
That dude's awesome. I don't see the McDonald's.
Yeah, I like his shit because he started in 2007, and he became partners with them. And
McDonald's?
no, with YouTube.
Oh, really?
He started making big bucks like in 2010, 2013.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So yeah, I'm like, damn, this guy could do it. You know,
Anybody can.
He makes like $8,000 a month.
Does he really?
His YouTube channels.
All he does is like sit around and tape himself.
And walks around and rants.
Yeah, that's what you do. I was sitting here in my garage. You're not in a garage, Omar.
Yeah,
that's the county courthouse. It's like, what the hell's the matter with you? You don't own that. The people do.
Yeah, I want people to question my authority.
What are you, some kind of fascist? You don't own public property.
Yeah, I was like, when I started getting like more out there with my YouTube channel, I wouldn't be surprised if like I see myself in a link. Sensational guy making hits is a fascist.
Yeah.
You know, or some shit like that. Or
I'm gonna make that as soon as I go home. All hail, great Mexican dictator, Judge Omar Sandoval.
He's here to take your guns.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit.
And he's gonna eat them for his soul collecting device. What time is it, Omar?
It's 3:43.
3, 4.
We're about to get an hour here in 5 minutes.
3. Really?
Yeah,
we sat here
55.
Can't believe we talked for an hour.
Yeah, see, that's the good shit. We just randomly made a podcast, which was all strategized through my friend here, John Holbert.
It wasn't strategized. It was like we just sat down and like.
No, but we had that telepathy because we've done these before, so we didn't have to sit there and like, hey man, so we have been
doing these every month for about a year.
Because I remember when we started with your podcast, and we were always like, hey, what should we talk about? Or, you know, we should write something down.
Yeah.
Or in the middle of the podcast, we'd be like, oh, so what's next? Or, you know, but now we just fluently are flowing like water.
I'm trying to get my cousin to partake in that situation. I need to work on my podcast skills. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I talk over people.
But people like to hear you, though.
Yeah. So I give them like an extra dose.
Yeah, heroin.
I need to quit doing that. Yeah, I'm trying to get my cousin on. He's a pretty smart guy.
He's a truck driver?
Yeah, he's a truck driver. He has seen the entire
countryside.
He's seen how people react. He understands human behavior. He's a very intelligent guy. He's gonna be he's educated. He's gonna be a chef before like it's all said and done. Like he's a top standing dude. Like he takes a field, he masters it, and then he moves on. Like he's done like landscape and window washing type, construction type stuff. He mastered that, and he moved on to being a truck driver. He mastered that, and now he's gonna move on to be a chef. He's gonna master that, and we'll see what happens after that.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, somebody I aspire to be anywhere. Somebody I try to surround myself with. Some of this is good shit. Somebody I try to get like Nixon to freaking hang out with.
Yeah.
Like
he needs to get on here too and start fucking around.
Yeah, we need to get him on.
Kicking rocks and shit.
Yeah, kicking rocks.
But yeah, I understand what he goes through. I've had the same thing that people always come up to me, bro. Man, last week you were playing baseball, dude. Why are you bowling now? It's like, because it's a short life and I want to get to do everything.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do everything? Because why not?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now you're doing carpentry. Last week you were doing welding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week I'm gonna own your freaking company that you work for, and I'm gonna be your boss.
And fuck your girl.
Yeah. Well.
Probably not that. Because I'm not that.
Well, you have a girlfriend too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking.
Yeah, you probably should have said that, asshole. You're gonna catch crap for that one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Your girlfriend does not like the fact that you said.
Yeah, Kenny, not even playing around.
I don't even know who her name is. What her name is?
Airam.
Aridam.
Yeah. Airam.
Aridam.
It's like an A. I mean an I. Because her name is spelled Airam. But yeah, closing. So yeah, I don't even know your cousin yet, and you know the way you say that, you know,
Nixon met him.
Makes it more worth knowing him because.
Hopefully we can get Nixon on the podcast.
Yeah, eventually eventually we can do like 5 people at a time. See how that works.
That is not gonna work. They suck when they get past like 3 or 4. But
really?
we'll try it.
I've seen people do podcasts.
We need to have if we're gonna do 5 people at a time, we need to have
like
5 incredibly mature people that will not talk over each other, because it'll be like going into a bar and recording a bunch nonsense.
of drunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe with 3, just rotation.
Yeah.
We do me and you with one of or your cousin.
Walla 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 walla
And
walla.
me and you with Justin, or me and you and Pedro Vides. Usually the third guy gets rotated out until like we manage to figure something out until we can bring more people.
Man. We can have whatever. Like, I don't know.
That's the skill of learning,
Yeah.
A failure. You fail and you learn from it. So it doesn't matter.
Rogan has set up
a quote.
network where everyone that he knows ends up having a podcast. Joey Diaz has his own podcast. Brian Redband has his own podcast. I think Redband has his own podcast.
Yeah, so they just collab on each other's.
Yeah, they just do whatever the hell they want. There's a lot of that happens over a lot of animators from Newgrounds started their own thing. Like they were just hanging out and showing each other their videos and shit like that. And before too long, they ended up starting like Sleepy Cabin. There's a place called Ninja Sex Party, which is
sounds pretty cool.
Well, they're like a silly kind of like music video type band and YouTube famous type people, and like a lot of animators like go over there and hang out with them and like sometimes do music with them or whatever. But yeah, man, like it's all good. What's going on here?
I'm pretending to record us.
Oh,
all right. So before we end this, do you have any last words? I got to show you something before you leave. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to finish this.
Yeah.
Show you a couple of videos I was doing yesterday.
Yeah. Productive Productions YouTube channel, link in the description. Go like us on Facebook if you're into graphic design, if you're into comics, cartoons, anything that I can pump out through Flash or any other Adobe products. I use a bunch of stuff, but yeah, go check us out. And, thanks for having me on your podcast, Omar.
That is my actual first podcast I've done, like officially.
Yeah.
Like I've done some in the past before, but I've never put them out there yet. They've just been retakes or whatever, just
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, this is my second one. I did my video podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know where my head's at today. But it was nice interviewing you, having a good talk with you. You made good, strong points. And you heard him, John Holbert.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube, whatever. SoundCloud, Twitter, Omar Sandoval, gmail.com/78910, Facebook, Shogun Angler Studios.
Shogun Angler's YouTube channel.
Yeah, Shogun Angler YouTube channel.
So share, subscribe,
Productive Productions TV.
Productive Productions TV / Shogun Anglers Collaboration Studio.
That's just made up nonsense.
Yes, it is, but it sounds pretty cool.
Various plugs.
Just follows in
Productive Shogun Production Angler TV. Yeah. Shogun Production Angler Productive
TV /
Anglers
Studios.
We should
I'm gonna start printing shirts later on in the future, so
it's gonna have the entire shirt's gonna be covered in shit, just like
and capitalistic endorsements.
Yeah. It's not even gonna have our logo on there. They have the McDonald's and the Walmart logo
and the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympic one. Yeah,
Chevy Silverado.
The bow tie.
Mary King. I think you're a funny guy and mentally ill, but you're still a funny guy. But
Mary King, if you ever listen to this video, and I'm sure you never will, whatever, you might, that'd be cool. Explain to me how the bow tie is a lightning bolt. Explain that to me, because I'm too dumb. That doesn't look like any. I think it looks more like a cross.
It looks like a sigil on a flag, like.
Well, it looks like a like if I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like barbed wire. Like if you were to tilt it on the side and run a string through it, it looks like a barb on a wire.
You actually hit that right in the head.
Yeah.
Never had one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our show for today. Sorry for we couldn't do no video. We were out here behind UNT, but that's not the problem. The problem was just spontaneous podcast that we just did.
Podcast
and so welcome to the Revolution podcast, episode 2. I'll be uploading this later today.
Welcome to the Revolution. That's the name of it.
That's the name of my podcast.
That's pretty awesome. I thought it was Omar Sandoval.
No, the Shogun Anglers. It's produced by Shogun Angler Studio, but the name of the podcast
is Welcome to the Revolution. I like that.
Yeah, because that revolution happens in the mind. So
the mind of people.
It's not about your point of views. It's about how you can revolutionize self-thought.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
I have a friend of mine.
I'm not a philosopher, but
does podcasts. I'm going to get him on next time. You and I are gonna have us a conversation. He's a cool guy. His name's
Would I record this or
His
no?
name is Juan.
Or he's gonna record it.
No, I'm giving him a shout out right now. Juan David Aungo, or however the hell you say your last name. He's from like Colombia.
Yeah.
He grew up in like 4 different like South American countries. Or like when I say South American, I mean there's like Mexico and the others.
Yeah.
Like, but that's a terrible thing to say.
But Mexico's not South American.
No, it's south of America, right? No. Anyway, yeah, you're gonna get on this thing. We should end this.
Yeah.
Stop.
So, all right.
No one cares.
We said everything
Go
already. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.